Hey there, cats and kittens. Pastor Jim here. Thanks for joining me again this week for the message for the kids and youth of Atkinson Congregational Church of the Light on the Hill. So glad that you could join me. Oh, the Hey there, cats and kittens. That's from Pete the Cat. It's one of my favorite TV shows. And every week when there's a new episode, the narrator, the person who's telling the story, says, "Hey there, cats and kittens." I just like the sound of it. Well, this week we're going to talk about planting and harvesting. Planting is when you put a seed in the ground or you put it in some dirt and you give it a chance to grow, and then whenever that plant is finished growing and produces whatever it's going to produce, whether it's a pepper or a tomato or a green bean or flowers, when it's ready to get picked, we do what's called the harvest. Harvesting means to pick the fruit that's ripe. Well, in where we live, summers aren't too long, and some plants need extra help to have time enough to grow to produce fruit so that it's ready for harvest. So tomatoes, I love tomatoes. So back in March, I planted some tomato seeds in my house in these little pots. And about 2 weeks later, guess what? Something sprouted and started to come up. And then it grew and it grew and it grew. And finally, the end of May, the plants were big enough and strong enough, and there weren't any more nights where it was going to get too cold and freeze, and we could put the plants in the ground. And I planted several of those plants at home, and I also brought some to camp, and I planted 4 tomato plants here at camp. Let me show you. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. And if you look at this one, can you see that yellow thing right there? That's a flower. And that yellow flower, in a month or two, is going to turn into a tomato. Those are my 4 tomato plants over there. So soon we will be able to come back and see little tomatoes, and then they'll get bigger and bigger, and then they'll turn red, and then they will be ready for the harvest. In the Bible, Jesus talks about how the harvest is plentiful, but the laborers are few. And what he means by that is that there's lots of people in the world who haven't heard about God and Jesus' story yet. And the people that, like us, who can tell people are few. So there's lots of people that need still to hear about Jesus and hear about Jesus' life and what he did. But it means that you and I have to be the ones to go do that. We have to be the people who harvest, and we harvest by sharing the good news about Jesus and Jesus' love and God's love for all of us. And Jesus tells us, don't worry about what happens after that. Maybe that person becomes a follower of Jesus, becomes a disciple right away, and sometimes it might take years before it happens. But that's not ours to worry about. Our job is to be the harvesters. Our job is to be the laborers, to tell people about Jesus and about God's love, and then we let God do the rest of the work. So soon there will be tomatoes over there ready to pick, and I'm going to come back and I'll show you when they get ready to pick on a future week, maybe a month or 2 from now. But remember, our job is to be the ones, the laborers who go into the field and do the harvesting, to help Jesus by telling about Jesus and Jesus' story. Would you join me for a moment of prayer? God, we thank you for the many gifts that you have given our lives: bright sunshine, warm summers, food to eat, a place to sleep. We have so much, God, and we are so grateful for it. God, we thank you also for the gift of Jesus, who came and lived among us and taught us about your love and so much more. Help us to be harvesters of your fruits. Help us to be the ones who teach others about Jesus and Jesus' love and Jesus' life. God, we thank you for everything we have, because we know it is a gift from you, and we thank you for Jesus in our lives. Amen. All right, kids, that's it for this week. Thanks for coming by. Remember, the stories for the kids and youth of the church are posted every week on our YouTube page, and you can go by there and see them anytime you like. I can't wait until we can get back together to see each other in person, but until then, be good, enjoy your summer, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.